Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Foundry Roundtable, the podcast exclusively covering the Foundry for Star Trek Online. I'm your Tame Foundry author, Drogan1701. With me, of course, my usual partners in crime, Greendragoon, Markhawkman, and DuncanIdaho.
So one of these times are we ever going to do like something that isn't a crime?
No.
Oh. Oh, I see.
No, because you are criminals and despots, and I exist only to expose that to the world.
See, me personally, I went into full-on time bandit mode when I realized that one of my favorite online games was closing soon. So it's one of those run around in-game and grab everything you can before it ceases to exist.
What game is that?
Marvel Avengers Alliance. It's a Facebook game, and apparently Disney Interactive has decided to close like a quarter of their games, and that's one of them.
Not sure what grabbing it does, since you can't take it with you.
Well, actually, see, since it's a Facebook game, you can go around and take pictures of like everything and keep the pictures.
I've done that before. A long time ago, I got into one of the beta versions of World of Warcraft, and at the time I knew I wasn't going to, as I was in college and poor, I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford the subscription, so basically I took the entire beta and just went around taking screenshots of things.
I may have done that for Star Trek Online a little bit more before I got started in the Foundry, but back when I was first getting into it, it's basically the thing of like, you know what, I recognize that I'm going to move on from this game at some point, so I'm just going to take. Back then, it was just a sort of a roster of ships and crew members. So bridge officers, characters, and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, these are the characters I had. I'll be able to look back on it. And now it's just like, oh, I don't really care about those because I've made better ones over the years.
But you want to keep the memories around, right?
Oh yeah, I've got it all itemized. I've got old stuff, I've got new stuff, and then I just sort of lost the initiative halfway in between. So there's sort of a lost history in there too. Maybe I could go back on various tribal characters that I've copied over and do a little bit of an archaeology dig on that. But yeah, God, yeah, that's a lot of history.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just so many years, so much stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the things where you're just like, you're always with an online game. It's like, is this really going to last forever? It's not like, you know, say Star Trek Armada 2, where it's like, theoretically, I can go back to that at any time in the future, so long as technology still works.
Yeah, so long as you can still get it to work. We were actually just talking about that beforehand, because, of course, one of the reasons that I'm calling this a special episode is that we're going to kind of do some non-Foundry stuff. But, you know, knowing us, we're probably still going to try and relate it to the Foundry. And one of the things that we're going to do that we've been wanting to do for a little while is play some classic Star Trek games, because Star Trek has a long history of games, computer games, and some of them have been very excellent. Some of them have been not very excellent, and you know, we want to give them all their due as much as we possibly can. So that's one of the things that we're going to do today, and getting them to work. It can be problematic. Currently, the ones that I've gotten to work, I've gotten, let's see, Birth of Federation to work. I've gotten the original Armada to work, although it's so low resolution that it's really hard to play. I've gotten Elite Force to work, but that takes some doing to get it to install. Hopefully, we can get Greendragoon to be able to do that, so he can live stream that at some point.
Yeah.
Starfleet Command 2, I think I had a lot of problems with, and I don't think I ever really got to work satisfactorily.
Starfleet Command 3, I've gotten to work.
I haven't tried that one yet.
It works, but it's one of those things where you have different memories of it at the time, where it is really hard going back to for the sake of it after playing either Star Trek Legacy or Star Trek Online. Just in terms of the combat, the interface. I mean, the interface is just, oh my god.
Well, you know, the Star Trek Legacy, of course, is still It actually installs and plays just fine. It seems to anyway. The problem is the control scheme is still as terrible as it ever was.
I played it on the Xbox, and actually, that wasn't a bad option.
I think it was definitely built better for console.
Yeah. So if you've say got a controller, that might work.
That might help.
Actually,
But it's interesting because
if we get to that one, maybe I'll have to hook it up.
We get to that one. I actually kind of view Star Trek Online as actually kind of a spiritual successor to the Starfleet Command and Legacy games, the ship side of it anyway.
Yeah, that's how I originally viewed it too. It's just add the MMO format, and it's like, hey, there we go.
Yep.
I know. I think
And some ground.
I think Stowe actually has a lot of classic Trek in its genes, so to speak. Because I mean, I know the ship customizer reminded me a lot of that. Was that Star Trek Starship Creator?
Yeah.
Where you have the pieces, parts, and you combine them together to make your own little custom spaceship.
I never actually played that one. That was always one of those where you'd go by Best Buy or GameStop or something, you'd see it on the shelf and be like, one of these days I'll get that, and then I never did.
All right, it's not a game that will consume us for very long, but I'm definitely putting it on the list now. We will load it up at some point. And
good, because I've actually never heard of it. So.
It's not much of a traditional game. It's mostly you design the ships, pick your fantasy crew, and basically send it off, and it automatedly does a mission.
Yeah, it sounded something like that. So that'll definitely be interesting to see.
So yeah, it's not like it's like a game that would occupy us for about 15, 20 minutes, and then we move on to something else.
Yeah, it's a proto phone / Facebook game.
Kind of. I mean,
yeah,
it's definitely from a time before that.
Games didn't really have a combat user interface as we know it today. And what you did is that you would design your units, and that was what you did as a player. And then the units kind of went off and did their own.
It was more of a management type of game.
Yeah. It was put out by Simon & Schuster, and all of their games are QuickTime based. Borg and Klingon are the two others I can think of offhand. They also had a bunch of like interactive bridge tour and
which I have to absolutely recommend you go on YouTube and look at the somebody has essentially cut together almost a whole episode of TNG basically from the Star Trek Borg game, and it's fairly bad but still entertaining. And it's a lost episode of TNG.
It is. I mean, it's funny because
it's got John Delancey,
Yeah, and he does a pretty good job. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I mean, it may not be like the best. It may not be the best acting ever, but I think all the people that they got are actually all like Star Trek veterans. If they're like B actors from Star Trek, but they all kind of do a good job of making it feel like they belong in the Trek universe, which was kind of nice.
So we'll be delving into a classic Trek game a little bit later, but for starters, we're going to check out the new lighting system on Tribble and other improvements, because those just went live on Friday. This, of course, is the new lighting system that they built to kind of enhance their console version, and we're getting it on PC. They just announced at the New York convention that the console version is going live next week.
Wait, hold on, just a sec. Do you have shadows enabled?
Do I have shadows? I've got everything.
Gruden. I'm just watching the live stream, and that looks very different. That looks very different from what I've.
It does look very different from what I'm looking at. Because I see shadows from the
shadow, and then
window pylons there.
Shadows high. What's the maximum number of shadows per object? Is that 5?
Could it be something to do with the conversion to live streaming?
I don't think so.
That's odd, because let's see. I can just take a. All right,
I can
I'm just
see
going to
some
take a
medium.
screenshot. All right.
There's definitely some shadows in places, but
Here, I've
We
got
see
a.
fairly dramatic shadows.
Well, I mean, changing the shadow quality is changing things. It's just you don't see character shadow.
Okay, I just
Oh, it's much
sent
more than that.
over.
oh, there we go.
Screen-
Hang on,
Yeah.
I messed with the sliders and that seems to have fixed it.
There we go.
Oh, that's much better.
Now it looks great.
Yeah, there we go. Now you see the really dramatic stuff.
I love that the my eyepieces is like casting my uniform all in red.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. It's it's a very aggressive Borg implant now.
Just
It's like
futile.
wearing a red flashlight attached to your face.
This keeps me up all night.
I know. And it stares at me back at the mirror. Get blinded
put a
by
piece
my
of
own
duct-
laser.
I have to put a piece of duct tape over it.
So, to kind of give you the gist of these the new lighting system, it's essentially they've upped the number of lights that can be cast on any object dramatically. And at least, I'm no technical person, but from a user standpoint, it looks like there's a lot of different things going on. First of all, anything that looks like it was emitting light before now actually is. And so you get a lot of directional light, like we're getting light from the sun here. That's what's casting these shadows, and they're actual, it's actual light, and it's actually casting shadows. And we know this because when the giant Presidio that's flying by goes in front of the sun, it blocks off the light, which is really cool. And you'll probably see it in a second. We're up in the mezzanine on ESD. ESD is one of the places that really benefits, I think, from this lighting system. One of the other things I've noticed is that the color of lights is dramatic. I mean, like you can see with Dragoon's eyepiece, it's red, and now it's actually going to appear red.
So we got this really nice mix here. We've got some white lights, we've got the sunlight, we've got blue lights from the consoles. And that's something to really sort of take note of. Just for every single console, it's basically emitting light now. And that's actually a change that's gone live on holodeck right now. It's just not as apparent because we don't have that new lighting system. So things are underway, and it's a really dynamic system. And one thing that really strikes me is just how light really interacts with a lot of surfaces. It looks a lot better with the textures. So you'll notice this a lot on player characters, where if you're playing around with the uniforms, I really notice this on the KDF side. They really look like they've gotten a visual upgrade, and it's just the way that the lighting system is now handling those textures. So there's going to be more matte lighting. If like the Intel uniform looks really glossy now, it looks very much more like leather. While at the same time, if something's like a soft fabric, it'll really look like a soft fabric. So altogether, this is a big improvement over the game.
Faces look better, quite a lot better, I think.
And you'll see that too in the text window, since the new lighting system applies there too. And there's also new depth of field effects too for
yes, the backgrounds, they'll fade out essentially. Not like 100%, but they'll go out of focus. Is what's going on.
Check it out. Look at the Hestia in the dock. You'll see that the bus-side collectors are casting an orange glow on the side of the ship.
On the hull of the ship.
And there's also spotlights just slowly drifting over the surface of the hull.
Yeah, there goes the Presidio out the window, blocking off the sunlight.
We're just staring now.
We're just looking at it because it's so cool.
Yeah. And it's just worth noting that on Tribble, there's some areas which don't necessarily look that good. And it's just keep in mind this is a work in progress system. They've updated the system, but I don't think they've made any huge tweaks to most of the maps. So certain ones may look a little
Terrible.
blinding. Terrible.
Yeah, that picture of Nukara you posted was,
Yeah.
I believe someone compared
Nukara
it to
is insane.
Zetar.
Yeah, someone pet the Medusan hybrid madness dribble.
Let's go down here to another level while we're talking.
I'm just
So
gonna
yeah,
take that quick way.
they've got some, I think, some bloom settings that are not so good at the moment in the general game. Like you go to the Andorian Bridge and it's just incredibly bright. You can't hardly see a thing.
Something I have found is the Davidian effect looks really strange. I was trying out
Well,
one
now-
Oh yeah, there's a new
And then now you're going to have to show it to us just because you mentioned it.
Well, I've got my pattern enhancers here. I'm just waiting for him to come off cooldown.
Wow,
yeah,
the lighting inside that turbo lift, it almost like it made your uniform glow. The pattern enhancer button appears to be disabled on this map.
Yeah, because we're on a social zone.
Try going to your bridge.
Another another thing to note about the lighting overhaul is that a lot of this applies to, well, most strongly applies to maps with a lot of artificial lights on them. If you're just dealing with, say, Ryza or any outdoor map with just basically the sun, since there's only that one lighting element, there's still going to be that improvement, but you're not going to see the same,
Yeah, it's not
basically
gonna be
the
quite as dramatic.
Yeah.
I wonder what the fair is going to look like because it has all those little small whatever things flying around in the sky.
Those are just textured items, so with a few exceptions. I did check that one out. It's not a dramatic improvement. And it's hard to pick out. I mean, with the shadow you can tell, but for the Defera invasion zone, that it kind of, well, let's just say it doesn't look good. But that's just because of the original texturing and map design. So no big improvement there. Defera, it looks better. There's some pretty nice dynamic lighting, dynamic shadow effects from some of the items. But altogether, it's not the most dramatic. Like ESD is really different. Whereas Defera, I mean, if you didn't do the sort of side-by-side comparison, you might not notice how it's been improved.
Wow, that is a really, really drastic change with the Davidian effect.
Yeah.
Well, you should see it when it pops up on ESD, or not ESD. Drozana Station.
Yeah, I was playing What Lies Beneath and it was like super harsh there.
Yeah. I don't actually mind that now. I hated the old one, but
Well,
No, this one looks nice.
I mean, I'd love to see the lights tone down because it is supposed to be dark. Which I was playing around with it. I noticed that they made a change. Now instead of the light being an object you pick up, it's basically it's kind of like a field that just applies the light to you and your bridge officers.
Well,
it's like
the
a
old
buff.
flashlight item was kind of useless because of the way it worked. It would light up this tiny dot in front of you, and you couldn't see squat.
Well, that's
Dragoon,
because
go down
you,
to your engineering.
Or
that-
maybe that's just because my computer wasn't doing it right. I don't know.
that's bright. Yeah,
You know,
always.
I just
Are all
noticed
glowing.
something really about the triolic thing is that your buff is still looks intangible, and you see them as being intangible even though you're not in the triolic field anymore.
Hardcore is not
See, this
the,
hallway is a good example of the bloom being a bit too
Overpowering.
intense. Yeah. That particular hallway. But the engineering is really nice because the warp core, the bottom of it is red, so it throws out a red glow, and the top of it is blue, so it throws out a blue glow. And this is a good example because this is actually a map that we have a similar version of in the Foundry. And so hopefully...
Except ours is battle damage.
Yeah, ours is battle damage. But hopefully it will do that same sort of lighting.
It probably has some extra orange glows that are due to flames and locations. You know, I'm starting to wonder if maybe part of the problem is that they just kind of like, as a first effort, they kind of like just set a baseline and made everything glow the same brightness, even things that should be rather faint.
I think what's likely is they implemented the new system, but they have things can render differently under different lighting systems. So, I mean, when I've been doing like renders for 3D, and I switch over to a different renderer, it's like suddenly all of my lights are inconsistent. Because I mean, for really, it's just a number. I mean, the number doesn't really have any meaning outside of what it actually ends up producing through the light or through the renderer.
Takes a lot of play testing. What's the medical bay look like?
One of the other things that is going on with this new lighting system is what's called high dynamic range, where basically if you're in a dark area looking into a light area, it will appear brighter, and then if you go into that light area, it's like your eyes will adjust to it, or the game simulates your eyes adjusting to it, and it comes down in brightness.
I love that lighting effect they used for that computer core in the medical bay. That was really cool.
And we do have that asset in the Foundry.
Yep.
Looks like the transporter's offline. Like super dark.
It's like it's still using the old lighting effects, and when you look at everything else just looks super bright compared to it now.
But you notice that those lights on the floor do throw off an actual light.
Definitely glowing. It's the upper ones that seem really dark.
Looking at the Ferengi ship interior now, it's pretty good. Some dark areas, but
obviously some maps are going to look more different than others.
That's a typical of Ferengi stuff, though, is that the Ferengi seem to take the approach of only using as much lighting as they need. That was one thing that I always noticed about Ferengi stuff in the TV show, is that it was like half lighted compared to Federation stuff.
This is more attributable to the fact that in the back part of the map, they're basically missing a light. That the map was originally lighted with a different system in mind. So you've got the art design, but the back area with the double table looks like someone has simply turned the light off. It's basically that there's just an kind of a hole now. In that
and
area.
if you notice these things, things that you don't necessarily think should look like they do, you should make sure to say so to a dev.
Yeah, because then they can fix it.
Mm-hmm. Or
Yeah,
they can tell you that they wanted it that way.
We wanted the double table to be invisible, and only that on the map. Oh, wow.
Some of this stuff is really cool. I'm over on the captain's table now, which I haven't been to in probably a year. And there's one point where there's this little blue strip of lights that run around on the floor. It's like a decorative thing, and it's actually throwing off light directionally. Like it comes up at you.
That Tribble decided to crash on me.
That'll
I'm restarting now. Yeah. Every once in a while I'm doing a map transition, it wants to crash or lock up.
In one of old Tribble builds, it was actually certain specific maps. Whenever I set foot on certain specific maps, it would crash.
I was just transferring from my
from your ship interior to something else.
Back to ESD.
There's a couple ones that I've noticed that have really dramatic changes. A lot of the Romulan stuff looks very different. So if you got a Romulan character,
you posted a pic, in that one pic, it was the flotilla shipyard area. In the old one, it has like very consistent lighting throughout, and in the new one, it's like the console assembly in the center is the only light source.
Oh, one other visual upgrade, quote upgrade, the players may also notice as they're exploring Dribble. NPCs now have facial animations again. Specifically, the happy face.
Hey, that's good.
Very nice.
And apparently it's a rather creepy happy face.
It's
so.
the rather
Well-
creepy happy face. So if you use a happy animation at all in your Foundry missions, you might want to go back and change that now, because otherwise it's going to be a little
Terrifying.
well, it might be unintentionally hilarious in parts, depending on what the line is. So it's funny with the ESD controller, because when you enter this, when you enter the Sol system, he's happy, but when you want to dock, he's sad/angry.
Which
like-
bridge is that?
That's the Vengeance.
Huh.
In all its lens flared glory.
Mm-hmm.
The lens flares are so bright they're going through the consoles.
Yes.
The interior section of Starfleet Academy looks pretty good now, because, again, lots of consoles, lots of artificial lights.
We have a recommendation to go to the shuttle interior.
Okay. Hope my game doesn't lock up again.
Ooh.
I'm now starting to wonder what the Universe Bridge looks like.
I kind of got a holy crap moment right here on the Starfleet Academy. So there's a Club 602 sign over in a lounge type area. So there's just a couple of bar tables, just standard lighting, all that thing. The thing is, the Club 602 sign is a neon light. And it actually looks like a neon light now, and not just an illuminated sign.
That is cool.
So
which,
it's just like...
should work out quite nicely for Mirror Bajor.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta-
that sounds like
Or the back alleys of Kronos.
Kananra said the back alleys of Kronos look really nice. Or, well, First City. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I just thought of is one thing you didn't do at ESD was going inside Club 47.
Club 47 doesn't look that... It has a lot of the
it was
psychedelic
already
lights,
pretty,
but...
like, it was kind of already like that.
Yeah, it was already like that, and the effect of those lights in particular aren't quite as dramatic, so they're not really high-intensity bloom.
And you
it's
also
just-
see these improvements on space as well. I see Dragoons in space on their stream there.
Yeah, I thought I'd check out New Romulus. I was in the neighborhood.
New Romulus didn't look too terribly different.
No, not the exterior.
Apparently, this character has not been to New Romulus before.
Yeah, she has, and I've
So we can check it out via the
had to watch
cutscene.
this. Some of my textures are not loading in their high-res versions.
I'm going to Vulcan.
Obisec's eyes look weird.
And of course, this is
Got
totally
the,
an
Stanley
unskippable
Kubrick
cutscene.
scare going.
You know, that cutscene was a lot cooler back when you could actually see all of the random other players that happened to be wandering around the map.
And by cooler, you mean funnier?
Well, I mean, you know, some days you would actually have like a dozen people walk between Obisek and Gatan. And I think that's actually probably the reason why they changed it is because of how often you had people just like walking straight through the middle of the cutscene.
Ooh.
I have to say, though, the new lighting does make the cutscene look cooler.
Vulcan has gotten one particularly good upgrade. It's now got a very noticeable depth of field effect, and it actually looks very much improved.
So, you know, as good as I would say Starfleet Academy looks now, it's still horribly inaccurate. It needs a giant
Oh, yeah.
fog bank obscuring everything.
Yeah.
That was my one impression from that area of San Francisco.
Weather modification net.
Oh, fine. If you take the boring way out.
Don't
You know,
make me
the
come up with some
sky-
excuse involving a deflector.
The sky on New Romulus is kind of interesting now because it's like a generally different color.
The cutscene is still going on.
It just ended for me.
Well, it's just kind of going back and forth between your stream and my game here. Check it out, seeing if there's any crazy psychedelic areas. Let's see where I haven't checked out yet.
Well, one thing I noticed in that cutscene that was cool is that at one point a Romulan shuttle flew past, and you could actually see the shadow of the shuttle as it flew by.
Well, you could before.
Yeah, you definitely get stuff like that.
But yeah, it was definitely more limited on the. You could have like 2 dynamic lights and.
See, there went another one.
I am now headed to Gobali Prime.
A Purple World of Doom?
Purple World of Doom, and let's see how that works. Oh, and it's also one other note to make about the new lighting system. For people who may have had frame rate issues on exterior maps, those have gone away now, at least on my end. So you may also see, in addition just to the new lighting system coming in, you may actually see a performance improvement depending on your hardware.
Well, it may have a lot to do with the move to DirectX 11, too.
Yeah.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, previously we were limited to DirectX 10 or earlier.
Yeah, and DirectX 11 I think was just like in quote beta, and it didn't really have that much of an improvement, and it also caused certain textures to become really blocky. So for me, I was just using DirectX 9 in the settings because that was the one that sort of works most optimally.
That's actually something that I noticed that with my computer is that at some point during the summer event, my computer started displaying certain textures as checkerboards instead of solid textures. No idea why.
I got like lots of oh, sorry, it was DirectX 10. But yeah, using the old DirectX 10 setting, there used to just be really big blocks on certain textures on my hardware. So yeah, altogether, Kabali Prime actually still a little bit of a little laggy, but actually better. But actually,
one
this
particular place I noticed that has a really dramatic change. Dragoon, if you want to check out Dyson Sphere interior.
Oh yeah, you posted pictures of that.
Oh, Kabali Prime actually has gotten overall. It's the same style, but it's got a lot of very small details and a lot of really tiny purple lights. So you'll notice like the sort of the finer end of the new lighting system.
I noticed that the lighting doesn't seem to have had a whole lot of change on water.
No, I don't. I don't think it has, as far as I've seen.
Does anyone else notice that the backdrops in space seem to be fuzzy? Like they're blurred?
Huh. It does look like that.
I think I've noticed that.
Not especially.
I haven't been looking for it, but
it maybe just like doesn't look pixelated. It just
no, it's not pixelated. It's definitely a blur.
Okay.
It's a depth of field effect, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super obvious in a sector space.
I don't know. I think there's some things that look sharper and better, and the effects, like nebula effects and that sort of thing, especially around New Romulus, looked a lot better.
Yeah, when I'm in sector space, you'll see a lot of just around all the stars. You have little individual halos, but the backdrop looks perfectly fine.
Point the camera to the right again. I think you're flying past one of the exploration clusters.
We keep them on the
I'm
delay.
like 10 seconds ahead of you, so I'm long past it now.
Oh, okay. Well, just to the left of the Dyson Gateway, you can see that kind of like an elongated curve shape. That's an exploration cluster. And now when you look at it, it looks like a gray cloud on the horizon.
Worse for one of the exploration clusters.
You know, I know they were don't know if experimenting is the right word, but they were using these depths of field effects more with Agents of Yesterday content, like in the TOS era. And I think maybe now they're expanding that to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And what depth of field does, it is essentially defocuses the background so that the foreground pops more.
Yeah. See, because the exploration clusters currently look like just like gray blobs.
Well, only
when
in the
viewed
distance.
from-
Delta Quadrant Command is pimpalicious.
Yeah.
See, now it just suddenly turns pink once you get a
Yeah,
little closer to it.
They
It's
basically
kinda
have
strange.
they have a dark gray black fog in effect in sector space. Basically make things kind of seem less prominent in the background.
Well, and as you remember, when they built the new sector space, they changed how star systems work so that they are, a little object when you're far away from them, and then they pop out to what's actually all in the star system, the planets and the stars and stuff. And I think they did the same thing with the exploration clusters. They're just a little object when you're far away, and then they
But
grow up into a big one.
Even then, the far away part, I don't remember it being like a solid gray mass before. And then again, it could just be that I was seeing it less clearly, and thus the colors were a bit distorted by the stuff between me and the exploration cluster. Oh, that close-up of your ship looked cool.
But on the Dyson sphere,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes it look really washed out.
Well, I mean, a part of the reason why the Vengeance looked like it did is because in the movie you saw it in shadows. You never actually saw it brightly lit.
Now, see, my that particular Dyson sphere looks a little bit different on my system. I see a black pool sort of a thing where the
Hey,
in the
there's
Iconian Gateway.
Grantor Davidian. By the way, did they ever update the XP Grantor Davidian to work with the new level system? Because last I remember,
I just
it
got
would
a
de-level your character to 53.
I'm still 60, and I already talked to it, so he just gave me a specialization point.
Oh, good, they fixed it.
And it's generic consoles have lighting effects associated with them now.
Well, one thing I've noticed is that Dragoon's screen will sometimes have objects just like flicker to black for a fraction of a second, then go back to normal.
Yeah,
That might just be the shadowing system sort of loading in. I've been noticing that.
Could be the stream too.
It's not the stream because it's certain specific objects. Like in the when he was in Dyson Space, it was just the clouds on the ground. Not the entire ground, just the clouds.
Flickering shadows is something I've been seeing on Holodeck, and it could just be the fact that, well, it doesn't sort of load instantly. So sometimes it needs to sort of recalculate and do stuff like that. So that could be it.
I also don't think the textures are streaming in quite properly. I'm noticing a lot of cases they're getting stuck on their lower LOD and never loading in the higher resolution textures.
Try going to the medical area. See what all those little column things look like.
Holy crap. I'm just looking at one, just miscellaneous projection. I've never noticed it before just because it was always in shadow and not really associated with anything. But with the new lighting effect, it's basically one giant neon light. It's awesome.
Where are you?
Back in the transporter area. It's basically one of these little Oh, things on the side. There's these little projections with a console associated with them. One of them is popped out and is emitting lots of gas. And back in the transporter area, the interior now is lit up, and with the new lighting system, it looks fantastic. If you just look straight up at it, because you see that light playing off the nearby textures, off the wall, and you still got the smoke effect coming down too.
Wow, that area looks incredible.
All right, so
Although I think the main light in the Dyson interior area, that the Joint Command interior, I don't think that's working properly right now, since you have all the smaller effects, but the big light that used to illuminate the area, that doesn't seem to be doing the same effect now. That might get updated.
Yeah, obviously, I think we're going to see plenty of changes to this before it goes live.
so we could literally spend the entire evening running around looking at all the
We
different
could.
locations.
Look, I found a light. This thing, it does stuff now.
No, Duncan, don't look at the
obviously,
light.
we will go more in depth into Foundry related things as soon as they turn the Foundry back on. I have made that request of Maria, but obviously she is in New York, so probably can't do that.
One thing to note is that Bordescu tweeted that this was part of a new code branch, and new code branch is the keyword Zero used to describe the fact that we didn't need to do downtime last time because it wasn't a new code branch. So because
That's a good
this is
point.
a new code branch, we might actually have Foundry downtime when this
Short
goes live.
version, all the Foundry assets need to be updated for the new lighting system.
Thankfully, we actually share
I
assets with.
Yeah, because I think
yeah, and
some
those
of
are-
that at least will happen automatically.
Yeah, and those
Yeah.
are already getting updated. If you just walk up to a console now on holodeck and just stuff that you're placing in the Foundry, they've got lights now. And that was something that is being added to a lot of this stuff. Just the fact that those have now directional light effects. So it's pretty cool, but you have to just basically put your face next to them. So there's no sort of noticeable effect on the environments in the Foundry right now. But I think everything's technically set up. It's just that they've got to put the system in, but the way the game works, they need to go through downtime now.
Okay, Dragoon, I need you to go to one last place though before we
All right, last
do
place.
anything else. Bajor.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
the day-night cycle on Hathan. Wow, that thing in the ceiling looks amazing. Has all those little tiny little glowing things. You know, I think that might be what you were seeing, that's such a big difference in the main part, is that instead of a single bright light coming from that floating hologram, it's a bunch of tiny lights that don't quite work the same way.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, because the tiny lights could just be parts of the environment now that just set up automatically because it's using all these assets. I'm
Well-
thinking that the big light might not be on. So
Well,
the way
I think the big light used to be the holographic display of the galaxy.
yeah, and that's
the
not
holographic
having
display
the
of the
same.
galaxy seems to be a bunch of tiny lights now.
Well, you know, the holographic display I think is on in Joint Command, and he was actually in the Delta Command. Obviously, there's different things going on in different versions of the Dyson interior.
The Delta Command, it's just the big light that doesn't seem to be on right now.
Oops, wrong one.
Briar Patch looks interesting now.
Holy!
Uh,
I just beamed down to Bajor. Holy crap! Ah!
I know,
Do you
right?
still have eyes, or are they smoking holes in your face?
Oh no! It's great.
No,
like
it's-
I'm just
it's
amazed by the
incredible.
transporter. I mean,
Real-
God, the material effect on the metal, like it's just it's such a better effect now. Like there's just the way the reflection works, the way the everything
say-
was about.
The wormhole looks different. I think it actually looks less like the TV show than it did before.
I don't know. It looks less. It's less obviously
it
a
looks
model
more
than it used to be.
It looks more
Yes.
brown now, and the TV show wasn't brown.
I think it looks a bit smoother now.
That is
Ooh,
true. Yes.
It's very bright on.
And that's a good thing.
You notice it's bright at first, but then it's like it's the metallic reflections in the transporter.
So I almost have to reset my graphics like every time I go into a like just screw with the lighters because
Remember what I said earlier about smoking holes instead of eyeballs? Yeah, that's what.
that looks much better.
Well, just wait till you get to actual Bajor on the ground.
Hang on, I took a quick detour to.
Now I don't know quite why you're having that issue because I haven't seen that on mine.
It could just be one of those technical things.
It could be my graphics card, could be my drivers.
It could be that there's a flaw in the Tribble build that's not saving your graphics settings properly.
That's a little
Definitely
right.
That view screen there, for example, on some of the things it displays, it's just so horribly washed out because it's so bright.
All right, I'm on my way to Bajor.
So, Dragoon, what kind of graphics card are you running?
A G or a R9 280X.
Pretty similar to mine.
I've got an R7, and that's working great right now.
Oh, and
I have an
Stoke crashed for me
R9
again.
285. No.
Oh no!
Well, you have to restart it because we have to show our Bajor. I'm serious. It's non-negotiable.
Needed to Bajor or bust bumper sticker.
Yes, Bajor or bust. No sleep till Bajor.
And in fairness, this is obviously a new, very experimental build and definitely
Somewhat
a work in
unstable.
progress.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yeah,
Somewhat self-destructy.
I think that's what your problem was. That's just not saving your graphics settings properly. Because I actually had that issue on one of the older Tribble builds where they added this fuzzy. I think they called it the film screen effect or something like that. Not the one they added for TOS, but a different one. And every time I turned it off, as soon as I did a map transition, it would be turned back on.
I just realized there's a couch here on what's her face? Commander Chibi. She has a couch in her office. I want that couch in the Foundry. It's a great couch. It's just like a standard sofa. And I want that.
That'll be $2 million dilithium.
Cool. The lighting is cool on the character selector screen.
Yeah, the character
dramatic.
selection looks
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
They also changed they updated the lighting to in the tailor, both in the ship tailor and the costume creator for ground characters. The style is a little bit different because now, at least on Tribble right now, instead of having a sort of a holodeck background, you'll just have a starfield. But the lighting is pretty good. It's just going to be a little bit of a change there. When you're dealing with the ship tailor, it's just better lighting with the same thing.
Ooh,
So that looks pretty.
when you were warping out, I just noticed that the windows on the inside of the hole in your hull were glowing.
Yeah. That's probably the finest point of technical change on space lighting. Your ship lights itself really well.
E-
Okay. So we've learned
Well, one thing to remember with Bejor that's confused me several times is that you don't actually need to fly close to the planet to be found.
Yeah, you got to look for the little button.
That is a very uniformly orange glow.
Do either of you guys play Minecraft?
I have watched
do
people
not.
play Minecraft a few times.
I've poked someone while they've been playing Minecraft, but that's about it.
Why is
Um,
this guy?
But you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's this one mod called the shaders mod, which like puts in this like super high quality lighting system, similar to what they're doing here. And it kind of,
Mhm.
I was just noticing, kind of has the same thing where like every texture that glows like throws off this radiant light.
Ooh, ooh. The orb has some neat lighting effects too, very subtle ones. You can see the gas or the light coming out of the side, or unless that's just gas escaping, in which case we want to run.
The orbs don't emit gas normally.
Then
Well-
it's just it's particulate of profit.
You know, those orb visions
They're-
come from
they're-
somewhere.
Yeah.
What
What it actually does.
It's just carbon monoxide.
Cananra
The
is
candles actually
wondering.
look really cool now because the actual candle flames are lit. And it's not just this kind of sort of yellowish thing attached to a candle.
I just love it every time light shines through a tree and you get the foliage pattern.
Hey,
So Cananra is asking if the day-night cycle is working, and I don't think it is.
Well, I mean,
It's
it's
been
definitely.
pretty
try-
fixed since I found.
I didn't
try
know
jumping
any.
in
I didn't
front-
notice any
front to
change.
see if the fish have shadows.
I think you got to stick around
Yeah.
for quite a while to see the.
Eh.
It's actually like something like a 20 or 30-minute cycle.
Still, it's a great-looking sunset,
Oh yeah.
and I believe well, I don't know if we have a sunset version of it, but we do have a day and a night version of this backdrop in the Foundry. Because one of the things that might change for us with the Foundry is the lighting that comes off of backdrops.
We definitely have the day one, but I wasn't aware we had the night one. Do
Yeah.
we have the night one?
We have
sure.
several night backdrops.
Well, we've got the night one for
I'm pretty
like
sure we have.
Pagoda
I'm pretty
and
sure we have Bejor night.
okay.
Well, maybe we just have Bejor sunset. Maybe that's what it
Because
is.
we have Bejor Sunset because I use that for Trident, and I was just playing around with that. But we've got a lot of backdrops.
Yeah.
For miscellaneous night. Oh, and those are going to be interesting to go through, especially some of the more like Rura Pente, because that's got a really good depth of field effect.
Wow,
Yeah,
the
holodeck
console
looks quite nice.
sparking was giving off light flashes.
And we'll
Is
spend
that your
another-
actual monitor blurring, or is that just the Skype stream?
I'd say that's probably because of the stream.
I don't
I
think it's
guess.
boring per se.
It's going
Was-
artifacty,
Yeah, that's probably
I
the
think-
stream.
the proper term.
Yeah, well, when you were spinning rapidly, sometimes it would get blurry, and I noticed it more when you were inside the holodeck than I do elsewhere.
I wonder if there's any special significance in the fact that this male console has a lighting effect now that is illuminating this statue's crotch.
That's
Well,
I'm
it
going
is
with
it is a
that's
male
trend
console.
to-
Yeah, is that where the male comes out?
uh,
So yeah. I mean, there's just that the one chance for unintentional hilarity on this map because of a new lighting system and the fact that we have the statues, and hey, we got it. I am satisfied.
That was never a problem before, obviously. All
Is it a
right,
sign?
All right, Dragoon, why don't you close down Stowe here, and why don't you show us a classic Trek game? I believe you got one queued up, and it's one that I've never played, so I'm gonna let you take the lead on that.
Okay. Lucky for you, this is the remastered version, which has voices and everything.
Hey, oh boy.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship
That sounds
Enterprise.
familiar.
Its mission? To explore strange new worlds, to discover new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
This is creepy coming in through my headphones.
Did I kill it? I might have killed it.
Oh, you killed Shatner.
I see some very, very pixelated stars.
So it's back from the Interplay era. Now that the stream is caught up, yes, you did kill it.
Okay, let's try that again.
It's dead, Jim.
Try not just...
Now, this is the version that's on GOG, right?
Yep.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its mission? To explore strange new worlds, to discover new life and new
Creepy man is
civilizations.
back.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
So they did an
can't
original version
chat.
that was on
Not
diskette,
pausing.
and
That sounds like they used an audio clip from the TV show.
no, they actually brought in all the actors to record this. So this is actually probably recorded later, like during the movies.
Like redoing the intro.
Yeah, that sounds like late Shatner, not slightly puffy Shatner, not original Shatner.
Yeah, because originally it was unvoiced and it was like on diskette, and later they ported it to CD and recorded the voice actors.
Wow,
Demon World.
that is interesting.
Though the Enterprise's
They
primary mission is
did
peaceful
a
exploration,
version of
the
the
galaxy holds many
a
surprises.
TTOS
To be
title
prepared, we are
sequence,
conducting a
but
mock
for the
battle
video
with the
game.
USS Republic.
Captain Patterson reports the Republic is in position and ready to begin, Captain.
The Republic is arming weapons and raising shields. I suggest we do the same, Captain.
Pause it real quick. Can you guys see?
Right now my stream is cycling. So, oh wait, I can go to Skype. Yeah, there we go. Forgot about that.
Okay. So you guys can see it through Skype?
Yeah, we can see it through Skype.
Okay, awesome.
Maybe
Yeah.
if Skype feels like showing it to me.
Okay.
Raising shields.
Apparently Skype does not feel like showing it.
Of course, right out of the gate they make you...
This is why we don't have first-person bridge view in space combat. Yes,
People learn their lessons after.
This is certainly a form of space combat. I don't know why the phases are red.
Well, in TOS, the visual effects.
Captain Patterson extends his congratulations.
Yay! I beat the
Lowering
one on
shields
the.
and
Okay.
disarming weapons.
Hey!
Message coming
You
in
shot
from
down
Starfleet.
Jerry!
On screen, Lieutenant.
Jim, the Enterprise is ordered to travel to Pollux 5. The natives report that alien life forms have been attacking the settlers near a mine at Mount Idle. You are to report to the High Prelate of the colony. The settlers are members of the Acolytes of the Stars sect. The description of the attackers vary, but all say that the attackers resemble creatures from many Earth religions known as demons. Starfleet wants you to determine the nature of these creatures and to resolve the situation without bringing harm to the colonists. Starfleet out.
Are we gonna go fight Doom monsters now?
Go solve a mystery.
Okay, I think the gates of hell have opened, and yeah. We gotta go find the BFG.
So a fun little thing about this game is that you had to have the manual to know where to go.
Ooh!
I hate those.
So I had the manual downloaded. Alright, we're going for the Pollux system.
We lost the Skype feed. I'm just getting a black screen.
Oh, it's because I minimized the thing.
Ah.
I'm hoping it'll come back when I...
Let's see.
Okay, I think I found it. Oh, okay, so
We are back.
you guys still see?
Yep, we still see.
See something, anyways.
We have arrived at Pollux
I
5.
see this moving right now,
Alright. I have to remember all the key commands, so I think it's O for orbit.
Entering standard orbit.
though. Alt Control P to orbit the moon instead of the planet. Some
Not
games
quite. I don't think they had
market
discovered
license.
Alt yet back then.
Well, I was making that joke because Space Empires 5 actually does have like full set of things for the letter keys and then shift and control versions from some of them.
Pollux 5 has recently emerged from an ice age, sir. It's spring at the moment. Cool, but tolerable. Sensors indicate previously documented flora and fauna. Nothing unusual.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's like the older version of the actors.
Spock, come with me. Mr. Scott,
But
you have the call.
with Nimoy, his voice became more gravelly as he got older.
I love how they've got
This is so
Kyle
much better,
at the
gentlefolk.
transporter controls.
We are honored at your presence and hope you will
How many
find
times did he
peace
get
here
killed
in
off?
our haven.
Less than you should.
Captain, the flora on this planet is very interesting. I wonder how useful it may be for medicinal purposes.
Alright. It's like been forever since I played this game.
I'm just noticing the fact that Kirk has very well-defined chesticles.
Yeah, they kind of all do. I think they use a standard
They
body
just made
template.
sure it showed up really well on gold.
That's one of the odd things you notice a lot in that era of spriting is that things tended to be either like rounded or flat, not smooth.
Looks busy, man.
Interesting variation of the transporter effect.
Okay, there we go. Let's left click to talk to this guy.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. We have received word that alien life forms are creating problems at your mining facilities at Idle Mountain. Tell me more. Most High Prelate and Given, I am honored to meet you.
Oh, that's right, we
I
got a
consider
choice.
it my divine duty to assist you in any possible way with the spawn of the devil.
And forked gameplay.
Been
I'd go with
seeing
that one.
ghosts and boogeymen, eh? I find that a little hard to believe. I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the U.S. Most
Do you think
high
number
prelate
2?
and given. I am honored
I'd
to
go
meet
with
you.
number 2.
I consider it
Patronize
my
him.
divine
Okay.
duty to assist you in any possible way with the
Oh.
spawn of the devil.
Captain Kirk, I had no idea we were blessed with one of our order in the ranks of Starfleet. We believe we have located the very gates of hell below Idle Mountain.
Aside from seeing demons, has any hard data been collected? Any evidence I could see? Demons, gates of hell, this is the 23rd century. Aside from seeing demons, has any hard data been collected? Any evidence I could see?
I should point out that you are actually graded on how well you complete these missions.
I'd go with 1 then.
A skeptic would consider everything merely anecdotal or unproven. My people will gladly tell you their own stories, so you need not hear it secondhand through me.
What can you tell me about the mine itself? You're wasting the time of a starship capable of destroying this planet with campfire stories? No wonder you were dumped out here in the middle of nowhere.
Definitely.
All right, I don't actually care what my final score is.
Let's
Starfleet
threaten to destroy the
recognizes our
planet.
freedom to worship and believe as we see fit, Captain. I'm surprised that you do not share that feeling. Rest assured that Starfleet Command will be informed of your rudeness. The area
Yeah.
is
Unless we
exceptionally
destroy the
stable
planet.
tectonically, and easy for our machinery to work in, praise God. We've mined for hafnium and a variety of useful trace elements. The deeper we dig, however, the more anomalous the variety of minerals seems to be. Our Ignatiate brother Stephen has his own theories about why this might be. Either way, the anomalies inspired Brother Canbury to conduct studies inside the mine. Yesterday, he reported discovering a strange door. A gate to hell, surely, for the demons caused a cave-in immediately. Canbury was trapped, unconscious, and the demons prevent us from rescuing him. We can only hope he is still alive. We need your help, Kirk. You may have no respect for our beliefs, but I hope you will look beyond that. Godspeed.
Talk to the trees.
Well, we can go in the buildings.
Oh, God.
What?
I was just wondering, can we talk to all those people individually and have the same length of conversation?
I think it's mostly just...
I am worried about Brother Chubb. Can you examine him, Doctor?
Well,
Okay.
one thing I noticed after playing Master of Orion for something like 2 years is that there's actually like 3 different ways in Master of Orion to bring up the planetary build GUI. And when you simply look at the interface the first time, it's not immediately obvious. And you have to tinker with it a lot to figure out all the different ways you can do it.
Let's punch him.
So, something else kind of cool about this is when you you can actually choose one of your bridge officers. So you can, in this case, let's say for instance I try to use the medical tricorder on the guy.
Jim, this man has suffered severe physical injuries to his head and arm. The wounds have been adequately cared for. However, he has developed a Nugarian infection. If not treated swiftly, the effects can be fatal. The infection can normally be treated with hypoditoxin, but there's none on the Enterprise.
I may be of some assistance. The Lorexian berry grows near the mouth of the cave. If I could acquire it, I would be able to synthesize the hypoditoxin from the berry. Unfortunately, the demons prevent us from approaching the cave entrance. Perhaps you could retrieve it for me.
I think we should just put him out of his misery. Shoot to kill. Where did they come from?
Hopped out of the grass.
They're hiding behind you.
We lost the red shirt.
You see a small explosion.
Hear the great
and the Klingon's hand falls to the ground.
Star
with a
Trek
dull thud.
suspense
I guess they
theme
don't
in the
make
background.
Klingons like they used to,
Dun,
sir.
dun, 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 dun.
I think that's one of my favorite parts about this game is the transposed TOS music.
We registered phaser fire and an unknown energy beam. Is everyone okay?
We're fine. Did you register any disruptor fire?
No, Captain.
seem to be having trouble with my connection. I can't.
No, just an
The stream doesn't work, and your sharing your screen on Skype doesn't work for me, so I'm just listening at the moment.
I'm watching it on Twitch, which is a little behind and does the spinny thing every now and then, but I'm at least able to see something.
I'm on watching Skype right now, and that's okay. Remember to collect the berries for the sick guy, so we don't have to phaser him.
Take the Klingon's detached hand.
What?
You wanted to phaser him.
Why
Yeah,
did
his hand fell off.
Why did his hand fall off? Oh gosh!
Let's go find out.
Definitely not a real Klingon, Jim.
This is not a Klingon, Captain. Not a real one. It is an organic construct, an android-like robot. It looks like a Klingon, but the appearance is entirely superficial.
He's made of metal. Isn't that harder to detach than flesh?
It said it was an organic construct.
Did we get the berry? Oh, we didn't get the berries yet!
It's because the berries are up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is sometimes hard to see what things
Retrieve a
are.
sample of berries.
Yeah, I just saw lots of red things. It's like,
And it's shooting now. Or is that a Klingon? It's hard to tell from here.
yeah, we just killed some Klingons. I wonder what's behind the rubble. I assume red is kill.
Yeah,
on
so
the phaser stick.
yeah, red is kill, green is stun.
Assume firing positions.
He's died again.
Jim.
That is in the script, right? The red shirt dies?
Yeah,
Assume
that
firing
is. It's just kind of like, I would have expected him to die in combat, not the rock jumped at him.
Well, it depends on which rock you shoot first.
This man is badly hurt and suffering from shock and exposure as well.
I have to say, it actually looks pretty good for being as old
It was
as
a
it
near
is.
thing, but he'll live.
Oh, thank you, kind souls, for saving my life. Let me rest here for a little before returning to report this miracle to Prelate Angiven.
Alright, well let's head back and
We made berries out of our fallen comrade and used that to generate the antidote. It's for a good cause. He'll live on in spirit. We shall name this tree after him.
depending on how you do throughout all the missions, kind of affects how things end. So if you do really well, Kirk gets promoted to Admiral.
If he does badly?
He gets lectured on how he's a crappy captain and should really read the manual.
Nothing happens.
What? You mean you can't do it badly enough for him to be demoted to ensign?
I don't think so.
He is too busy consoling the wounded.
Actually, realistically, in the military, when officers do something that badly, they just kick them out completely. Forced retirement for you.
He is too busy consoling.
Girk, we are demoting you to cabin boy.
Oh, I see you found the berries. Meet me in my lab.
That's what I always do to Tovan Kev. So I'm looking this game up here, 1992.
Welcome to my study. Feel free to look around. My medical and scientific equipment is surely not so sophisticated as you're accustomed to, but if there's anything you wish to use, please feel free. Also, I would be interested in anything you might have to show me.
Yeah, please look around and use anything. Yeah, I was gonna do that anyway.
I'll also take all your stuff.
The
This is
settings
an
on
adventure
the
game.
RDAC 4 have already been adjusted. Simply place the berry in the machine and the hypoditoxin will be synthesized.
Machine. There's many machines here.
The machine
It's the
synthesizes
future.
a quantity of hypoditoxin.
So at the time, it says it was positively reviewed by critics. Computer Gaming World said it was the most outstanding Star Trek yet produced for the computer.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it had much competition up to this point, because I mean, most of what I've
Wouldn't
seen out
think
of
so.
Star Trek was like those text-based Star Trek games that get passed
Well,
around.
and there was what, like a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo game, right?
By 92, maybe. Not sure.
Well, wasn't this also back when games had to suck for magazines to say they sucked?
Well, I think we were definitely
you.
judging by
You're
different
most
standards in those days.
Question: is this inspiring any ideas for a future Foundry challenge? Make a 2EOS mission and include berries in it.
So, I'll be honest with you. There was a puzzle, and I put in Shadow Midas Part 1 that is totally inspired by this game.
Ooh. Did it include berries?
It did not. But
Oh.
it includes synthesizing things and putting it into things and figuring out things and combining things and getting things setting right. And so you had to do it all, get all the things done right in the right order before you could progress.
Did you include a hit console to proceed button?
There were several consoles involved.
I never dreamed that
Okay,
Starfleet
but no
would be
easy,
interested in
like,
my
whack the
discoveries,
thing,
Captain.
move on. Because that's as far as I've gone for,
Surprises us.
for puzzles.
Well, it was this one where I basically had a bunch of NPC contacts as objects. And basically what you had to do is you had to read a journal which told you that you needed to synthesize beta tachyons. You go over to the synthesizer, synthesize the beta tachyons, take that, stick it into a particle emitter. Then you go over, turn on a force field, and then set it to the correct frequency. And then after you've done all those things, then it'll be correct and you can proceed.
See, that reminds me of one of the reasons why I generally loathe games where you need a manual in order to be able to progress properly. See, because I have on multiple occasions acquired such games secondhand and not acquired the manuals, and spent hours wondering how to get the game
Interested in
to
my
actually.
little museum of curiosities?
Looks like a pile of junk if you ask me.
Ooh, I got more choices.
Yes, tell us about these things. Where did you find all this? Looks like a pile of junk if you ask me.
Man, there's a super sarcastic version of Kirk in this game.
Yes, tell us about these things.
Must be very
I
concerned and
enjoy
interested.
talking about these treasures. Shall I go into
So apparently there have been Star Trek
mineral
games
specimens?
for computer going back to 1971.
Meteorite,
Ooh.
fossil shell,
doesn't
Obviously those were
surprise-
skull
text-based.
of a small alien animal. Twist of metal. Or would you rather move on to something else? Twist of metal. This chunk of rock is a greatly weathered example of a vanadium tungsten alloy, which doesn't occur naturally. It is my best evidence that the area was previously inhabited. Shall I go into mineral specimens? Fossil skull of a skull of a modern Silati, the largest creature native to this
Hold on.
planet.
The voice
They are
actor
about
here.
the size of a
Is he
house
one of
cat
the
from
3
Earth.
legendary Klingons?
Salatis combine a rather insectoid pattern with
I don't know who plays
four-legged
this.
reptilian form, including praying mantis-like forelimbs.
Oh.
Shall I go into minerals?
Sounds exactly like
of metal.
Core. I'm just gonna look that up on IMDb.
Or would you rather move on to something else? Very well. I can't imagine. You are interested in my...
Looks like a pile of junk if you ask. Yes, tell. Where did you find all this?
Here and there. Much of it was brought to me by others exploring.
Looks like a pile of junk if you ask.
Everything of this world is secondary to
Oops,
the
I
perfection of the next.
accidentally picked the sarcastic answer.
I never dreamed.
Wait, the
that-
largest creature native to this planet is the size of a house cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A glass-fronted
That's
display.
kind of strange. There are no animals larger than cats.
That's been true at several points in Earth history.
But what is this planet Lilliput? Whatever.
Nothing happens.
Mr. Spock, see what you can do about that hat.
Okay, so it's either Kang, Kor, or Koloth. So let's see. This was 92.
This machinery
does it
is
sound
I'm not
but
seeing
I
him on the
have
cast list
managed to
here.
repair the circuitry.
I can't
I know
imagine.
one of
that-
them is Tom Colicos. I think Core.
And none of them are credited here. So if he did participate, or one of them did participate.
Or it's possible that they just found a random dude who sounded kind of like him.
Well, I do think. I think one of them might show up later. If I remember how this game goes. I think there's a future episode where I don't know if it's any of the Klingons from the shows, but where there's a prominent Klingon. Use all the things. Sorry, Ensign.
You
Richard.
can use all the
Secretary
weird
triggers a
alien
connection
metals
and the
into
door
a single
opens.
super metal that explodes.
Let's put in our dead friend and throw it. In you go, man. Like the floor.
It appears to be an abstract piece of alien art.
Yeah, you can actually use Kirk or Spock and Bones.
Fascinating, Captain. It is a diagram of a lunar eclipse of this planet. See how the red sphere, the moon, is casting a shadow on the blue sphere, Pollux 5. This must be a very old piece of work, because this planet's moon was destroyed thousands of years ago. The machinery is waiting for the gravitational pull of another eclipse to activate it, an eclipse that will never come. And one other thing, Captain. This may also be a diagram showing the proper settings on that control panel.
I'm really expecting the Death Star firing sequence to start up
Nothing
now.
happens.
There is nothing at the moment for me to do there.
Wait, I'm a little bit behind. Oh, there we go.
Nothing happens.
Hey, I got it.
Welcome to our home.
It's a TARDIS.
Thank you for repairing our somnambutron.
Stop. You're trespassing on Federation territory. I welcome you on behalf of the United Federation of Planets. Who are you? Where you come from? We did fix your machine. Can we write the repair bill off against rent on this land?
What?
Why not?
Stop. I welcome you on behalf of the United Federation of Planets.
You
Who
gotta
are you?
do two.
Where you come from?
Because I think he would kill you for the other ones.
So, I mean, you, Mr. Lover of sarcastic
I
and
gotta
weird
do-
responses.
No, we got to do 2. We got to do 2. I mean, I couldn't do 3. Like,
Nowians. Thousands of years ago, we saw that meteor impacts were going to cause an ice age. We created this huge underground shelter to preserve our race, keeping us in suspended animation until the planet had recovered. We programmed the machinery to revive us at the next eclipse, but we did not count on the destruction of our moon.
Some advanced civilization. Perhaps you can tell us about the demons. Some advanced civilization. Perhaps you can tell us about the demons.
The demons, as you call them, are created by a machine designed to keep intruders away from our sleep chambers. It pulls from the minds of any approaching creature their most feared enemy and produces replicas to scare them away. For you and your crew, it was Klingons. For the Tellarites, a wolf demon. And for the other humans, a demon from their religion. On behalf of my people, thank you for waking us. I will turn off the machinery which creates our guardians, so that they no longer bedevil those with whom we now share our home. Oh, woe! Alas! The key is missing. I can do nothing. Even we will suffer the attacks of our own guardians unless the key can be found. I implore you, if you can help, please do so.
Jim, think about that skull we picked up from Brother Stephen. Now look at this alien. See the resemblance?
Here's your wife.
A child? No, I see many differences. This must be what our people who did not slumber have become. Still, I would like to see these remains properly interred, according to the precepts of our religion. May I keep this?
Of course. I think you will get along well with the Pollux inhabitants, and I'm sure you will have interesting theological discussions. I think I should return it to where I got it from. No, I want to keep it as a memento for myself.
No, that's just mean.
Of course,
I like those aliens.
I think
Let's
you
be
will get
nice
along well with the Pollux inhabitants, and I'm.
Wait, we're being nice to the green alien, right?
Yeah, we're being nice to the green alien. He's old. He's a Doctor Who fan.
You found the key. I can now turn off the machinery creating our guardians, and no more sentience shall be at risk. Surely the Holy One smiles upon us all. I have no way to thank you, Captain, but please carry this request from my people to yours. We have much ancient knowledge we can share, and we would like to join your federation. Go in peace.
I will be glad to accept your application to the Federation. We shall have a diplomatic envoy sent to make the final arrangements.
We look forward to meeting them. We also look forward to having discourse with the colonists. Farewell. May the Holy One bless you.
Live long and prosper.
Kirk to Enterprise. Beam us up, Mr. Scott.
I love how well informed the alien was.
I'd like to join your federation. I've been asleep for 10,000 years, but it sounds dandy.
Pollux 5 and evaluate your performance at 75%. You and your crew receive 2 commendation points. Well done, Captain. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I might have known there weren't any demons.
We all have demons of our own, Bones. The ones we can't confront are often the hardest to deal with.
These demons were based on fear, Captain. A human failing.
I don't know, Spock. Everything that I've ever read about demons describes them as having pointy ears.
Yeah, it's kind of. They do get some kind of cute dialogue and
some good banter there.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Message from
Oh yeah, one of our friends died. Let's just move on.
The USS Enterprise is to report immediately to Beta Myamid. The USS Masada has failed to report as scheduled. Determine nature of delay and take whatever measures are necessary.
Set course for Beta
The crew of the
Myamid,
Enterprise
sir.
isn't allowed to plant flags anywhere for the Federation, but we can leave lots of red shirts lying around in our wake.
there you go. So
you mean you didn't teleport the red shirts to the Morgue on board your ship before leaving?
No,
Wait,
we did the green solution.
Oh, okay.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
we're
say,
just
why
letting them
waste
buy the
transporter
direct.
power?
Yeah, he'll become
Just leave them there
fertilizer.
to fertilize, a new plant life.
So, any fans of the Starfleet technical manual in here?
Oh, absolutely. You mean the original one from the 70s?
Yeah. So the USS
Yeah.
Manasseh, I'm pretty sure, is a class of ship that was shown in there.
It's possible. There were several ships that were kind of invented for that technical manual that were never seen on screen or anything.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the only time I've seen one of those ships show up in something else.
Yeah, well, one odd thing with the technical manual is the licensing status of the technical manual contents. Apparently, CBS/Paramount doesn't actually own it.
Although, interestingly, and I'm not sure what the status of the other ones are, or the concept art and that sort of thing. But I know, like Thomas the Cat likes those old books and likes to look through, concept art and things like that, and took a lot of inspiration from the original concept art for Voyager when he made the Pathfinder. So, could you see influences of some of the things from the old tech manuals show up in Stowe? Very possible.
I'm gonna go look at one. Since actually,
it's a lot easier to incorporate that type of stuff if you go with the inspired by approach instead of copying it.
On screen.
Absolutely.
Which unfortunately means you can't actually use any ship
We are
designs.
conducting a search and rescue mission for the USS Masada.
You have to put your own spin on
it.
it.
Was last recorded in this system. We cannot leave until we can confirm its location.
I've got the technical
condition.
manual out now.
So be it. You have been warned. Prepare to
Actually,
die.
just found this at a resale shop for $5 like a few years ago. It was great.
Arming weapons.
Dragoon's got himself in some combat here.
Yep, I'm fighting pirates.
That's something I haven't seen people do a lot in Stowe outside of a mission or two is space pirates. In the Foundry. We need some space pirates.
The main space pirates were those races that inhabited the exploration clusters. And of course the Orions, Nausicaans, and
Or occasionally, although they were more separatists.
But the Orions, Nausicaans, and Letheans worked with the Empire, so their scope of piracy.
Ship's initial intercept course was from the last known position.
Photonomy had space pirates very briefly.
Very brief.
I miss those space pirates. Died too young. But as you say this, I actually was just working on Secret Foundry project today, and one of the plot points was actually space pirates. We'll see if it actually gets developed, though.
I like a good space pirates thing.
There she is, Captain.
Used to be done all the time in.
Seriously damaged.
Okay, now that
27
ship
life forms
there
are aboard.
is definitely from the tech manual.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see. Oh, yeah, that definitely is. That's the Destroyer
slash
Scout class.
cargo hauler.
It's the tug.
Yeah.
It's because I think it was like at the bottom. There's no body at the base of the neck, and then I think it was meant for like to tug around.
Yeah, you could attach different containers to it. Anything from cargo hauling to what do you call it? Passenger liner.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah,
design.
Topad.
I guess it's an updated replacement for the Antares.
All right, so we have our first challenge, and that is.
Captain, we could use the command prefix code to lower the Masada's shields briefly, long enough for one transporter burst. Topic not available, Captain. Topic not available.
Masada, USS. A Federation tug tender. Registry NCC 293391. Currently
long
under
registry.
the command of Captain Kevin Keeler. Crew complement of 17. Primary mission, tow, repair of disabled ships. Its input override code is 293-391-197736-3829.
Captain, we could use...
Now, is this one of those games where that code, you'd really need to write that down because you're going to use it for, you know, like 3 hours later?
Well, I think we have to use it right now.
Hailing the ship,
I
Captain.
remember, you know, back from this era, like the 90s era, there was all kinds of games where if you encountered a code like that, you would need it much later in the game, so you'd better write it down.
USS Enterprise. You are illegally in possession of Starfleet property. This is Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. Listen, Lassie. Hand over the ship and hostages now, or things are going to get very nasty. This is Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. Mr. Alassi, it appears that you have found something the Starfleet lost. This is Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. You are illegally in possession of...
Ah, the infamous Captain Kirk. The Masada is mine. You will release 25 political prisoners I specify, or I will destroy the ship and its crew. The list of those wrongfully imprisoned should be coming over to you now.
Data file captured, Captain. Computer indicates they were all convicted of piracy with various counts of murder and mayhem thrown in.
Freeing the prisoners you requested will take time. We have to track down their current locations, and Starfleet will have to grant permission to move them here. I will get that started. You should tender a show of good faith on your part. Will you beam over so we can discuss negotiations face to face? We can work together on this, Alassi. How about beaming some of the hostages over as a show of good faith? Freeing the prisoners you requested will take time.
To
we have to track down their current locations, and Starfleet will have to grant permission to move them here.
Is a trap?
I will get that started. You should tender a show of good faith on your part. Will you beam over so we can discuss negotiations face to face?
What? Lower my shield so you can beam over a war party? I'm not stupid, Captain. We'll play by my rules.
So long as the shields are up, Captain, our hands are tied.
The Enterprise can overpower the Masada and take her, but the pirates would have all the time they need to kill every one of the hostages.
Will you send over data on the whereabouts and conditions of my falsely accused clansmen languishing in your dungeons, Captain?
Very well, we'll do it your way. I will put together the data packet. Kirk out. Your fellow Alassi have been tried in Federation courts of law and found guilty of their crimes. We'll listen to your complaints if you discuss them reasonably. Forget it, Alassi Sereth. You'll be the next one languishing on a Federation penal planet unless you drop your shields and surrender to me immediately. Very well, we'll do it your way. I will put...
I'd go with one.
Oh, we really are going to make me type in this code.
Oh,
that code had no effect, Captain.
Masada, USS. A Federation tug tender. Registry NCC 293391.
Yeah, I actually quite like this version of the Enterprise bridge. It's a little darker, a little more almost militaristic.
Primary mission, tow, repair of disabled ships. Its input override code is 293.
I think that look is just a reflection of the fact that they didn't have the ability to make stuff look glowy. It's either bright colored or it's dark.
Well, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the fact that they had to make the E-screen so large to make anything visible.
Because it's part of the control, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of it is also creative license. you don't see any of the upper monitors. You would.
Well, I mean, because with this, it gives you a good color contrast, which is important if you're playing the game.
All right, I've written down the prefix code.
I told you.
Getting all the stuff to look like it did in the TV show would actually give you a rather poor color contrast. So.
Yeah, I probably would.
You know, being a fan of Myst, I should have probably been prepared for this.
I'm thinking back to the King's Quest days, that sort of thing.
Sending
Sounds
prefix
about right.
and lowering the Masada shields.
Which actually would have been around this time.
All right, we're in.
Spock, come with me. Mr. Scott, you have the con.
Don't beam us into a wall, Kyle.
I wonder about the character
That reminds
design.
me of one of the just most utterly random ways someone died in Star Trek was in Star Trek the motion picture. They attempted to beam over the new ship's doctor, and this random transporter malfunction kills the guy.
Of course, had Star Trek Phase 2 gone ahead, that character would have been a series regular.
Wasn't it supposed to be the replacement Spock?
Yeah, because I think Nimoy was not
it
going to be
was
involved.
the replacement for McCoy. Well, in terms of ship.
No, it was Vulcan Science Officer.
Yeah. Wait, science officer or doctor?
No, it's the Vulcan he talks to at Starfleet
Sonak.
Command.
And he also, when he's all sad and having to relay instructions, he's also talking about how to relay instructions to, I think it was Vulcan or, basically making arrangements for the science officer he just lost.
I mean, because I seem to remember that the reason why McCoy got suddenly called up was because of the fact that the ship's doctor died in that freak accident.
It was actually the whole McCoy business was just the fact that Kirk wanted him on board and drafted him. It wasn't a sudden thing. It was from
it was pretty sudden.
The general point of view. McCoy just wasn't expecting.
It wasn't
to
because
draft
of that death.
It was just Kirk's way of getting McCoy back on the ship.
Oh.
Because he was off in retirement, and then he's like, I got drafted, and then he gets on the ship and is like, oh wait, you did this.
You notice a little bit. Yeah. And a little bit later, he appoints Decker as science officer because their science officer died.
I really felt sorry for Decker because he earned his position as captain, and then Kirk's like, "You're my errand boy now. Go away."
And he killed his ex-girlfriend.
You failed to obtain.
Got her killed anyway.
Yeah. But then it was all right because he got to become one with NASA instrument.
Yeah.
What we all dream of doing.
just as long as it's something more significant than weather satellite, STS, whatever.
Yeah.
Or dying as a red
Laser's
shirt.
ready.
Hey, what are you doing here?
How's that skipper skills?
Awesome. And our red shirt isn't dead yet.
I know, I'm actually trying to win in this round. I just wanted to show that you could do it in the first mission.
So is this game a sort of series of random missions, or is there an overarching plot, or how does that work?
Let's see. Like I said, it has been a while since I played it, and I'm trying to remember. For the most part, yeah, I think in this one they're mostly self-contained, so there isn't too much of a overarching thing. In the second one, in Judgment Right's a sequel, there's more of a build-up to the final mission.
I'm just wondering right now what the prisoners are doing in there.
I can.
You are in the brig of the Masada. 9 of the crew members are held in a cell. 2 Alasi guards lie on the...
Captain, the switch has been booby-trapped to detonate a bomb, presumably inside the brig somewhere. A medium-strength phaser bomb. The brig force field would contain the explosion, but it would kill the crew members within the cell. I recommend that we find a way of disarming it, Captain.
I like the wall pipes.
There. I believe the bomb is now defused, Captain.
I like the, you guessed it, ceiling details.
Ceiling detail. They've got shadowing effects.
What you can see of them.
I'm pretty sure this is all hand drawn, and then.
I would think so.
You failed to obtain.
Oh, wrong thing.
I have to say, the art style reminds me of the animated series.
Wonder if that was intentional.
Well, this was made after
Thank
the
you for freeing
animated
us,
series.
Captain.
Yeah.
We'll secure the area so they don't come up behind you. We've had electrical problems with our door to our bridge, Captain. The Alassi don't know we put an electric shutdown device. You'd never find it by chance. But if you used a charged phaser welder 2 feet to the left of the door and 1 foot off the ground, you might be able to shut down the force field and get a jump on the Alassi.
As a note for the timing on the production, this is TNG/DS9 era. When this was actually made.
92. Yeah, that would have been about mid TNG. It was also right around the same time as the movie or the TOS movies.
Yeah. Because I think actually they were making. I remember having the 25th anniversary special on VHS, and their whole thing was the upcoming Undiscovered Country.
Yeah, I was just actually got to see the Undiscovered Country in theaters, which was like one of the only TOS movies I remember getting to see in theaters.
I've only seen one Star Trek movie ever in theaters, and that was 2009.
The first one I went to was Generations.
Yeah, I have no idea why my parents never took me to see the Star Trek movies in theaters. We were really big Star Trek fans, and we got all the movies, and definitely a lot of merchandising, but
they
it
were
just
not theater people.
The odd thing is we kind of were in for a lot of different stuff. It just was never Star Trek. I saw all the Star Wars movies in theaters.
Nothing happens.
Although when I was in college, the theater near us did every Friday night at midnight or something, they would do a classic movie. And one time they did Wrath of Khan, which was pretty awesome. So,
yeah.
So that came out before I was born, so obviously I didn't have the opportunity the first time around.
The controls have been virtually destroyed, Captain.
Can they be repaired, Spock?
With Chief Engineer Scott's assistance, I believe we could get them in perfect working order in 2 days.
Spock, we don't have 2 days. If we can repair the transporter, we might be able to transport onto the bridge and capture the Alassi.
I can attempt to jury-rig repairs if I can find parts. However, there is only a 67.357% probability of success.
I've always been a gambler, Spock. Figure out what you'll need.
Never tell me the odds.
Because Spock is never as sure of the odds as he claims he
Nothing
is.
happens. Nothing happens.
It kind of feels like he's being pessimistic or something, or at the very least that his conclusions are premature, and then he comes up with a better plan later that he didn't calculate.
So,
But that's something you could always bring to your Foundry missions. I mean, you can always have your science officer try and calculate the odds of your crazy-ass plan succeeding so that it seems even cooler when you pull it off.
Well, like you said, it's
scraps of
something
metal
that
found in the corridor.
seems to have been done for dramatic effect.
A phaser welder. It is without power. These weapons are
As someone who
powerless,
works a
having been
lot with statistics, yeah, you can't really do that.
The Runsnake
The
transmogrifier.
magic quoting of these
This
are the
device was
exact
invented by an
odds
engineer
to
with a
a
sense of
decimal
humor about
point
names.
of a crazy
With
plan
the proper
succeeding.
attachments,
Unfortunately,
engineers
yeah,
use
stats doesn't allow us to do
temporary
cool
fixes
things
on
like
key
that.
circuits.
Well, I mean, in real life, the amount of data required to
The
come up
Runsnake
with a
transmogrifier.
reasonable
This device was
estimate
invented
of
by an engineer with a sense of humor
success
about names.
is mind-blowing.
Okay, so if we do this crazy plan about 137 times, actually, probably more, 1,500 times, we will then be able to calculate the odds of this crazy plan succeeding. So what we need is access to all the alternate quantum states, and let's just ask them how likely it is. Let's do a survey, let's get everyone's opinion, and then maybe by next year we'll be able to proceed with this plan.
There we go.
Finally found the right object and clicked on the right part of the map.
The adventure game gameplay.
I think that does.
Isn't there a new Myst coming out or something like that?
Now
Oh, yeah.
I can
Well,
continue repairs.
yes, it actually just
No,
came
pay
out.
attention.
It's not a new Myst game per se. It's actually a new game in the same style as Myst.
Ah.
Actually called
I
Abduction.
remember seeing something about it and thinking, oh, Dragoon will like this one.
Oh yeah, I backed it on Kickstarter.
The parts fit together satisfactorily.
Yay, you combine things.
You did
attach these
crafting.
Here. Now, all I need is a spare length of wiring.
I totally got a length of wiring.
The controls are set for just inside the bridge door, Captain.
Mr. Spock, you're a genius.
If you think about it, even this
But I do have to congratulate you.
kind of
Mr. Spock.
format
Now we
is
can really
not
risk
all that
shooting
different
our
to what you do in the Foundry. I mean,
Is this really necessary?
you
Jim?
go to a location,
Security analysis.
interact with an
If
object,
we transport onto the bridge,
you fight
we'll
an
have to
enemy,
drop on them. Assuming Mr.
talk
Spock
to
has the
someone.
transporter working
Those are
properly.
the four things
If
that we can do.
get past the force field on the door of the bridge, we should be able to surprise them for sure. Since we have a bomb, Captain, we could rearm it, transport it onto the bridge, and perhaps the Alasi will flee into the hallway. Then we could capture them.
And any hostages on the bridge will be killed when the bomb goes off. No, Jim, that's inhuman.
To say nothing of the possible damage to the bridge controls.
Did the red shirt just advocate that we do something incredibly stupid?
Yes.
That's
Let's
what they
send
do.
him first.
It's why he's a red shirt, not a important person.
It's the designated war from TNG Season 1.
And you know, that's why we're not paying him. Alright, do we transport on to the bridge, or do we try to go through the door?
It doesn't let you do the bomb?
It will let me. I could do the bomb, too.
Do the bomb.
Why? No, let's not do the bomb.
Set us up the bomb.
What about the corpse in the corner? Can't we use him in some way? Let's put the bomb inside him, beam him onto the
Okay.
bridge. It'll muffle the explosion, so it won't damage anything. It'll just scare him off.
For the record, that guy's not dead.
Oh, he's not dead?
No, he's not dead.
Oh,
he's getting better.
Does Command know that he's not dead?
Well,
What
he
if we
gave
just
he
say-
gave me his toolkit, so yeah, I know he's not dead.
Well, I'm just wondering if Starfleet Command knows he's not dead. If we say he was dead...
I don't think putting the bomb in him is an option.
Would be a fun option, anyways.
Alright, well, I mean, I got the transporter working, so we can beam in, or I can just...
I'm going to assume that getting the transporter working would be a benefit, because it required additional work rather than storming on. So let's just go ahead and use it.
Sure.
Okay.
We have technology, we may as well use it for some purpose.
I'm going to have a word for you, Spock, if we
Well,
appear
one
inside
thing
the
that
door.
I've noticed with some of the old games is the sheer variety of things you can do, some of which really serve no practical purpose for us.
Pow. Pow?
I wasn't quick and I lost the red shirt I didn't like.
Oh no.
How
Ooh,
many
and
red
he's like
shirts do you have
crispy
left?
numbers.
An infinite number, I'm sure.
The red shirt uniform is
over, sir.
designed to be
Surrender
practically
and I'll
indestructible,
guarantee the
so it
lives
leaves
of
its
you and
mark
your
on every Federation mission.
No, the uniform
The
itself
person
is
wearing
constructed
it.
much
Yeah.
like Daffy Duck's disintegration-proof
Freeze.
vest.
Don't even think about it. Check and mate, Elasi. Don't do anything foolish.
And as we all know, Daffy Duck's disintegration-proof
It's
vest
over,
never
Seraph.
prevented Daffy
Surrender
Duck from being
and I'll
disintegrated.
guarantee the lives of you.
You're an honorable and worthy opponent, Kirk. I accept your offer.
Scotty, beam down a security team to the bridge. We have regained control. Mr. Scott, beam us out of here.
Aye, Captain.
Security team was immediately killed.
Message from Starfleet, Captain.
On screen, Lieutenant.
We have read your report on the problems at Beta Myamed and
So surrender, or I will
performance
shoot
at
you in the face.
77%.
Vaporized
That's
red
always
shirt.
You and your crew received 2 commendation points.
Vaporized
Well done,
red shirt
Captain.
dye
Keep up the good work.
is
Trying to hold a
carcinogenic.
Federation starship captive. Can you
Well, he
believe
was the
it?
one that
Simply
advocated
just witnessed that very event.
beaming the bomb over.
Surprised you asked.
Yeah,
It was a
it's
rhetorical
karma in
question.
action.
To be fair, so did I.
Took quite a bit of organization to seize a starship. Think we'll see more of the Elasi pirates?
Undoubtedly, Captain. I suspect they have considerable resources to draw on.
So do I. Sulu, take us out of here.
Love's labor jeopardized.
Priority message from Starfleet.
On screen, Lieutenant.
A raid across the Romulan neutral zone has placed Starfleet Research Station ARC-7 in jeopardy. Proceed immediately to ARC-7 and determine the status of the station. Good luck, Jim.
All right. So, do we do one more episode, or do we call that good?
I think we can call it good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening. We've been going for 2 hours here, so
Yeah.
I think that'll be good. We can definitely show off another game in a future episode. We may have some downtime coming up, so that'd be a good place.
I don't think we have enough time to finish this particular game.
No,
Well,
in fact,
At least
I
not
think
long, so.
there's this,
Well-
what, like 5 or 6 more missions after this.
Oh, at least, yeah. Although I was reading one of the reviews and it said it did end too quickly.
Well, that,
So,
luckily they
they
came out
wanted
with
more.
Judgment Rights, and so there was more.
oh, good.
And Judgment Rights is kind of nice because it breaks things up a little bit. Because I mean, in this one, the landing party is like always Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and random red shirt, and so you get more. The more the bridge crew gets out in the Judgment Rights, there's like at least one bottle episode where you actually get to walk around the Enterprise.
Oh, nice. Well, if you want to check these ones out, there's good working versions at GOG.com because they take the old games and actually make them so they work on your system without you having to do nothing to them.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely worth a play. I mean it's one of the classic Star Trek games, and definitely one of the better done ones.
Mm-hmm. But we will end things here for the evening. So thanks everyone for joining us.
All right, do you want to do contact info?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. We can be reached by email at foundryroundtable@live.com. We are also on Twitter at foundryroundtab. Drogon can be reached at Drogon1701. DuncanIdaho can be reached at Gorgonops_SSF. Mark can be reached at Markhawkman. And I can be reached at Greendragoon.
All right. Well, we will say good night.
Good night.
Good night.